This is the Star Wars you get from Wish.com.
The Star Wars we have at home. Welcome everybody to the show. Tonight we're talking about the Book of Boba Fett episode 5 starring the Mandalorian. Tonight we've got Dot Chris and Jazemak joining us. Let's get into it.
This current episode that just came out is way better than the rest of the series. I was like, I was probably like 35 minutes in and I'm like, wait, I haven't seen Boba Fett in this TV show about him yet. Why? Where is he? I was like, you know what? Don't care. I was like, story about Mando, so much more compelling. I think I'm trying to enjoy the Book of Boba Fett as much as possible. I thought it would be a lot cooler the way that it was set up at the end of The Mandalorian, him taking the throne and kind of sitting there. And I'm like, all right, this show's going to, this is going to be cool. He's going to be a badass. And really, it's just a bunch of posturing and it's like all politics and stuff. We're back to the Galactic Senate or whatever it was, right? We're back to all the boring stuff, I think. But until he actually has a war with the Pikes, then I'll be happy. But I was happy with this turnout.
Yeah, definitely. Chris, what do you think about this episode compared to the other ones, or just it by itself? What's your take?
So here's what's really funny is that like we started watching The Mandalorian and everyone was like, I'm waiting for Boba Fett. And now everyone's watching Boba Fett and we were like, oh, waiting for The Mandalorian. And he showed up and I was like, this is one amazing episode of The Mandalorian. But there are only 7 episodes of the Book of Boba Fett. And the one episode that kicks has literally nothing to do with what came before the previous 4 episodes.
Yeah.
You take an episode that just completely stands on its own and it rocks so friggin' hard. I think I said it to you guys before. It's basically the most Star Wars thing that's ever Star Wars. Like, holy crap. Loved it. But we'll get into all that anyways. Sarge, what about you? How are you feeling?
Oh man, I think that the series as a whole so far was just undone by this one episode. It was just undone by this one episode. It's incredible. How do you have a show constructed like this in the writer's room, the director's room? You have so many great names attached to this property, and you put this thing out. You know what the episodes are. And then you put out this episode that delivered that in the previous review on episode 4 was like, yo, this next episode, it has to slap, it has to come in, it has to have some spice, it has to be that guy, it's got to be that dude, it's got to lead us through into tomorrow. And it was. I was watching this thing like, holy crap. I agree with Chris. It's really Star Warsy. I was sitting there like, this is incredible. This is Star Wars. I feel like Gordon Ramsay, since everyone on Twitch is watching Ramsay now, it's just like, this is what we've been screaming for. This is the flavor we've wanted the whole time.
You donut.
Yeah, donut. Why couldn't you deliver this?
I was thinking of like when we were talking about Star Wars Visions, how like the two of us were like, okay, like there are lightsabers in every episode. Where are the lasers? Where are the spaceships? And like that's what I was thinking about in this episode. I was like, yes, like this is something that stands on its own. Like this gives me all of the Star Wars I want outside of a lightsaber. Yeah. Is all in this one episode.
I mean, you've got the world building, you've got the aesthetics, you've got the incredible shots, you've got the interesting characters. It just felt like Star Wars and not like a caricature of a show that's trying to be Star Wars. Because who was it that told me that they were watching the Book of Boba Fett and their uncle walked by or their family member is just like, oh, this is, and they're watching for a little bit. And they're like, oh, this seems kind of like a knockoff of like Star Wars. And I was like, holy crap. God. What a review. What a quick review, because that's what it feels like. But
this is the Star Wars you get from Wish.com.
the Star Wars we have at home. Yeah, but it's incredible because this episode like starts us off right. And I love episodes that just get us through right out of the gate, right? Like this episode starts off with us in some sort of butcher shop. And then through the plastic curtains, it reveals the Mandalorian Din Djarin. I'm like, what? We're here. Oh my God, I can't believe it. This is what we're doing. Okay, because in the last review I said, are we going to have another flashback until he meets Mando? We already know he met Mando, but no. This episode said, hey, here's the Mandalorian, here's Din Djarin, let's start going. What did you guys think of that reveal? What was your reaction? Like, holy crap, really?
I was expecting the Mandalorian to be there, right? Because they set it up by the audio in the former episode. So I was like, they have to have him there. I wasn't expecting the whole damn episode to be a setup for what's happening in the last 2 episodes. I think that part's a little weird, by the way, is that like they took a lot of time explaining how to build a new ship and everything like that and all that jazz, which I enjoyed. That's weird as an intro to bring somebody back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I was not surprised that they were going to bring him into the episode. I was just very surprised on how they did it and how they just ignored the rest of the fucking characters in it, which again, happy about. Totally fine.
Yeah, it's such an odd choice, right? Like here we have basically a really good episode of The Mandalorian in a series about Boba Fett. And there's no Boba. And it's good.
It had more engaging story beats in one episode. And keep in mind that one episode had a 10-minute montage of them building a ship than we've seen in the previous 5 episodes of the Book of Boba Fett. Like, holy shit, Bryce Dallas Howard, you can direct the hell out of Star Wars. Give her trilogy. Just saying, do it right now. Give it to her right now.
And it's incredible too because I think in the behind the scenes of the first Mandalorian on Disney Plus, they have like a behind the scenes featurette thing. They were saying something about how the directors do have a say in how the story is constructed for their episode, so they have input. So I wonder if because the treatment and stuff was written by Jon Favreau, or Bryce Dallas Howard came in and says, okay, here's how this episode is going to play out. Here's what's going to happen. And it's so wild to me that we got this wonderful, amazing episode, and it's about Mando. What? What's happening here? I don't know.
Coming out of left field.
You feel bad for him, by the way? I felt really bad for Mando until like he finally got into a ship and started speeding around.
Yeah, for real.
I don't know about y'all.
Because in this episode, it seems like he in the beginning was looking for information, right? Like he's sitting there in this butcher shop. And he's just like, yo, I'm here to see a guy. I know it's you. That whole thing was slick. The whole thing was slick. The guy's like, that doesn't look like me. He's like, listen. Yeah. And he says like,
I'll let you know.
Yeah. And he says that badass line, I could take you in warm or I could take you in cold. I was like, oh, come on. Classic line. And then the ballroom blitz ensues. What did you guys think of the fight?
I wasn't ready for him to cut the dude in half. Like, I did not think that's how that fight was going to end. And he went up, and I was like, he's going to stop it. Nope. That thing just went right through him.
I know. He's operating with a lot of, Michael Douglas and falling down, I feel like, right? Like, he's got that whole, like, I hate everybody right now. And nobody really wronged him recently. Like, he just, he had this situation where he had to give up the child. And sure, like, but that wasn't, like, that was his choice to let him go. And I think he's really regretting it, and he's taking it out in a weird way. But I do think the fight scene was a little bit messy though, because I didn't even see him originally cut his leg with a Dark Saber.
Wait,
and
really?
So I'm like, I don't know why I missed it. I might have been eating cereal, admittedly. Poured the milk first this time. Shout out to Casey. But I had to transport it to another room, guys. Don't worry. So anyway, yeah. I missed that part, but I could have been distracted, honestly. So I'm like, wait, how the fuck did
you definitely had your head in the cereal bowl because that's one of the things that I really liked about the fight is that because Mando is a blaster user, he's not really adept in melee combat. Yeah, just like Boba Fett, he didn't really how to use the gaffy stick from the Tuskens, and they taught him how to use it. And I love that they made him slice him. So like, oh yeah, he wouldn't know how to use that. He wouldn't have any skill in this thing. And it's like, oh man, world building. Yes, that's how you keep us in the reality of Star Wars, world building. Oh, I really like that part. He just sliced himself up and he's like, oh, damn it. This thing's dangerous. It's so good. And Chris, and he cuts the guy in half. He's just like, all right. He starts chopping him up in pieces. And I love like the little scene of like, hey, when he's exiting, he's just like, yo, I don't have any quarrel with any of you guys. I'm here to do a job. That's it. And again, goes back to character building, world building, shows who Mando is, shows his creed, shows the kind of guy he is. And it's just like, yeah, you can count on the fact that like we as an audience, we know how he is. So we believe him. Like, yeah, he doesn't want to like mess up these guys just for no reason. It's so good. And then we zoom out, right? He's there to get some information. He gets the bounty, cuts the guy's head off. And then we zoom out into this like Halo world. What?
100%. I expected Master Chief to walk out of the side of the
I was expecting Matt Damon from Elysium, man.
Yeah. He's like, I need to get better. Where's those health pods? What'd you guys think when you saw this? Like, I was like, Halo? Mass Effect? What are we doing? Is this the Citadel? Is Shepard going to come out? I'm Commander Shepard, and I love this story on the Citadel.
It was an
Chris.
inside out Coruscant,
Mhm.
is what it was.
Oh, that's a good description. Inside out Coruscant. Talk about it. What
Yeah.
was your like? You were sitting there and it zooms out to this incredible Star Wars Halo like world.
I was pumped because like pretty much all of Mando and obviously like we've been on Tatooine the whole time on Book of Boba, like we haven't spent a lot of time in like cities. For the most part, the only time that we've spent in cities is in the prequels and some of Clone Wars, but for the most part, it revolves around the Senate or the Jedi Temple. Like, but beyond that, you don't see a whole lot. So, like, that's a whole awesome environment to explore. And spoiler, was also what we were supposed to get out of the friggin' third sequel trilogy as well. It was supposed to take place on the massive uprising on Coruscant, and it would have ruled, but no, they had to throw out Colin Trevorrow's script because Ryan Johnson ruined it for everyone. Anyways, I digress. But I do really like the fact that they had this world. It was cool. It was different from what we've seen in now 2 seasons of television. So it's great.
So Mando was doing this bounty for this gangster so he can get some information on where the armorer is and the new enclave of Mandalorians, because after the events of the first Mandalorian series, they had to leave that place and then they had to go find somewhere else. So he's like, okay, where are they at now? So he's been doing missions trying to find where they are. And then he finds them, and then we get this whole incredible scene with the armorer, with the other Mando, who was played by Jon Favreau in the first one, but Jay
Vizsla. Oh,
yeah.
it wasn't. Sorry, it wasn't the same guy.
Yeah, no, his last name is Vizsla. It's like
he is House Vizsla.
He is a House Vizsla.
So he's House Vizsla. So he is basically like a descendant of the character that Jon Favreau played in Clone Wars.
Yeah.
So what's nuts about this episode, and we're going to get into details later, is that this episode has bits from basically every single Star Wars thing that's happened. There's stuff in there from Clone Wars, from Rebels, from the prequels, from the OG stuff. Like all of that rolled into one episode is nuts. And that's part of this. You see in the Clone Wars and Rebels, both of those tell this amazing story about Mandalore and how House Vizsla actually like rose up and like started this crazy civil war on Mandalore. And like the fact that they did a throwback to that they did a throwback to that for folks that know what it is. They give you enough that you understand what's happening, but you don't have to have watched like everything to understand like the significance of this guy and why he wants the Dark Saber. Like that's why this episode was so freaking perfect. It was so well edited. It was so well cut, so well written. Everything about it, all wrapped up in this one bit. Big fan.
Dude, incredible. Absolutely incredible. I love this whole scene with the armorer. I mean, she's such a badass. Not only does she give us more lore, more world building and like who would have thought? Who would have thought? All right. All these episodes before this do not matter now because this one slaps so hard and it kept us so locked in. And I'm sitting the whole time like, I can't believe we have the armorer now talking about the Dark Saber, telling the story of the Dark Saber, giving some more lore. You know, even stuff with like, what's that on your back? Oh, it's a spear. I got it from this planet. I got it from this thing. And yeah, it's made out of Beskar. And she was, all right, give it to me. It looks like it's a different grade of Beskar. Well, this does more harm than good to Mandalorian. So let's schmelt it. Let's schmelt it down for the next generation. And I was like, damn, there's so much in there. There's so much more added lore to Star Wars, right? So we have different grades of Beskar, which we didn't get before. We have this whole lore and history that people didn't know because, and I like that too because some people don't watch the animated stuff at all. You know, like you have some people from like the original trilogy, like my family members who watch Star Wars, they don't watch any of the animated stuff, so it just doesn't exist. Right. So, but they were able to keep up with like, oh, this is Ahsoka Tano from the one episode of The Mandalorian because of, just the way that it's told story. Like, okay, this is a Jedi. And like, okay, cool. And that's it. And, but yeah, now we're keeping up with the story here. I love how they're weaving it. And I like that they're big fans of video games because like, not only did he go on this whole quest to return Grogu back to his people, but I was going on another quest where he has to kind of redeem himself because I want to get your guys' reaction on the fight that happened, right? Because now we have Mr. Vizsla there, the big swole Mando is just like, yo, how did you get the Dark Saber? the hell? Like Vizsla is my family's name. That's mine, you know. And I love how the armorer was training Mando to fight with the dark saber. She's just like, son, listen, you're fighting it. That's not you have to work with it. And I want to ask you guys this because it kind of seems like there's like a Mjolnir situation going on here, because there are people who've used the dark saber that don't use the force. Moff Gideon was able to, sustain his own ground against Mando, against Din Djarin. But for some reason, when Mando's using it, it becomes really heavy. You know, like a dark matter, like Mjolnir type thing. So, what do you think it takes for him to wield the dark saber?
So they kind of go into Rebels as well. So the dark saber, the story of the dark saber, is for the most part, there was a Mandalorian who became a Jedi. So that Mandalorian became a Jedi, like has now the culture of two like great societies, and you can fight like a Jedi, fight like a Mandalorian. And he needed a very special type of weapon. It couldn't just be a regular lightsaber. And so they end up constructing the dark saber. So it's not just a regular lightsaber. It's a lightsaber that is specifically meant for Mandalorians to use. So in Rebels, one of the characters named Sabine, who is a Mandalorian, ends up getting it, and it ends up also kind of similarly has to use it, but it works very different to the way normal lightsabers work, as well as unlike clearly anything a Mandalorian has ever really trained with. So it's very different. You basically have to stop fighting like a Mandalorian. You have to fight a little bit more like a Jedi. So it's kind of, but you also can't like just be a Jedi. You also have to be a Mandalorian. It's a weird thing. It's a weird dichotomy that we have on there. But it all ties in. Again, it's a way to bring that lore that was in Rebels closer to folks that didn't take the time to watch all of the stuff. And it just, again, in a few lines of dialogue, bam, we're caught up. It's great.
Yeah, Serge, I think you're right though, in the sense that like it does have a Mjolnir kind of property to it, let's call it. I think what I was pulling from this episode is when the armorer was talking to him, it was much like the Ancient One in Doctor Strange, right? And I think her voice kind of reminded me of that right off the bat anyway. But she's saying like, you're trying to force this, like you're forcing this, you're tiring yourself out. And the Ancient One in Doctor Strange was like, you can't beat a river into submission. Like you have to submit to it yourself. I feel like that's a similar thing that he's got to have to learn, is that he's going to need to just kind of almost listen to it like it was like a Zanpakuto or something like that from Bleach. You know what I mean? Just like pay attention, listen to what it's telling you, and then just like kind of, clear your mind, right? Be all zen about it, and then you'll be able to fight more like a Jedi. Maybe he becomes a Jedi. Who knows? I don't think it's going to get down that weird road, but I think he's going to, in the 11th hour, find a way to use that effectively and not get tired out.
Now, do we think that since he's going to seek out Grogu, that he's going to ask Luke to help him train with the Darksaber?
No, I think he's going to ask
this
Grogu.
show. There's only 2 episodes left, man. How
I
are they
mean,
gonna,
crazy
it's
thing.
No longer.
You know what? I got a theory. So he's
Go
going to
ahead.
be like, Grogu, I'm an idiot. I don't know how to use this, right? He's going to talk to him because Grogu's actually 55 or 52 years old, right? So Grogu is just going to use the Force to move it around, and it's going to look like Mando is holding it, but really it's Grogu constantly flinging it around.
like a Scooby-Doo? Like what kind of
exactly.
Scooby-Doo antics are you doing? Yes, I'll help you out, Father.
Yep, he's just going to hold on to it, but really the one who's controlling it is Grogu. And Grogu, it's going to be like a Ratatouille situation. He's going to keep him in his pocket.
The crossing of Disney properties. God, dude, there's so many at Disney's like, you know what? That's a good idea. We've done it before. Right? Ratatouille.
Oh, please send the check. Venmo me. I don't know.
Dude, it's incredible. And another cool thing about this, we get so many things out of this scene. The armor was telling Din Djarin about the siege of Mandalore and the Night of 1,000 Tears. So we get this incredible flashback to Mandalore and the Empire coming through and just wrecking shop. I mean, we're talking about the TIE bombers coming through. We have this like Terminator-esque looking scene with K2SOs and probe droids coming through. Like, did it blow your minds like it did mine, Chris? Like, what was your
It was awesome. Yeah, it was. There are very few scenes in Star Wars that actually show like the terror of the Empire showing up. Obviously, this is one of them. Rogue One does a great job of it. And for those of you that actually played through like the quick 6-hour campaign of Battlefront 2, that also does a really cool job of like showing what happens when the Empire shows up and starts taking over. But this was like definitely the most like harrowing, like, oh my God, that is more explosions than I think I've seen on screen like ever. This is awesome. Big ups. Again, Bryce, killing it. Keep doing what you're doing.
Absolutely destroying it. Jay, so a call back to Terminator, bro. You got like the K2SO bots and the pro droids coming through. I was like, yo, look at this. What was going through your mind when you were seeing the Siege of Mandalore and the Night of 1,000 Tears?
It was. I'm glad that they actually started the show, because I was kind of like, when they were talking about it in the Mandalorian, you know, and they were what Bo-Katan was talking about, I was like, yeah, that would actually be pretty cool to see. Like, I was like, I want to see a series on that, you know what I mean, and see how some of the people escaped, or see why, you know, some people may have been off planet for that situation and how they survived. So I thought that was really cool. I kind of wish there was more, you know, that it delved into it a bit more, but I'm glad they did at least give us a little sprinkle of that crack. So
yeah. And it seemed like there was like a little bit of shade the armor was throwing at Bo-Katan and her crew. She's just like, oh yeah, Bo-Katan's kind of messed up, and you know, she wasn't that great of a leader, Morty. She just wasn't that good. I don't know, but my throat got a little raspy. I was like, all right, just go into Rick. And she was like, yep. She talked about like the curse of the was it the Nightblade? Oh my God, brain fart.
Dark Blade.
She's talking about the curse of the Dark Saber.
Yeah.
You know, like if you don't win it in combat, if you just give it to it, like it'll ruin everything. And that's kind of what happened with Bo-Katan. I mean, she
Sabine in Rebels, Sabine just gave it to her. She just handed it over. And that's not, it's Harry Potter rules with the Elder Wand. You gotta beat the person
exactly.
in order for it to listen to you.
Yeah, and Chris, because of that, do you think that substantiates this curse that like I think she was basically saying that the fall of Mandalore happened because of Bo-Katan.
Kind of. It was because she wasn't able to lead, because the whole lore behind the Dark Saber is, and they've talked about it a few times, where the Mandalorian that wields the Dark Saber will bring all of Mandalore, will lead all of Mandalore back, but it has to happen the right way, right? So
why? I wonder why.
And Bo-Katan, whose sister used to run Mandalore before she was murdered, and she didn't want to have anything to do with politics, eventually tried to step up and do that, but she didn't get it the right way, and that's why she's pissed. That's why at the end of the Mandalorian, she's pissed, because now someone that is her ally is the one that has the Dark Saber, which means if she wants to be the one to wield the Dark Saber, she or someone else is going to have to take him out.
Mm-hmm. Yo,
that sucks.
For real. I mean, you had Swole Mando here, Vizsla, try a little combat against Din Djarin. Be like, yo, that's mine. Let's get it. Armor's just like, hey, do you accept Mando? I was like, ooh, a little duel here, because you know he was on Mando's nuts ever since like the other season, right? He's just like, yo, this tiny Mando, like you're not really Mandalorian, yada yada. Like, you know, we saved you and everything. You know, like you don't really honor us. Like you probably take your helmet off all the time, and then eventually he does.
I know.
He couldn't really answer. You know, so him winning the duel was pretty cool. But then it's just like, all right, well, like, Mando, have you taken off your helmet? He's just like, and she's like, Mando,
Din Djarin,
come on, Mando,
have you?
Come
He's
on.
just like, yes. And then she puts him on. Again, the story group here loves video games. We're on a side quest here. I would love to play this. I'm watching. I'm like, I would love to play this. All right, you get into the battle. Like you're getting all these objects, these relics, these equipment. You're upgrading yourself, and then now you got to go on another side mission for the whole, or maybe it's the main mission now. You have to redeem yourself. Okay, Din Djarin has to redeem himself by going to what Prince said: wash yourself in the pools of Lake Minnetonka.
Yeah, which is sad, right? Because he's like now excommunicated from this small group that he literally just joined, and he just lost the child. You know what I mean? And now he's going through all this stuff, and he's like looking for them, and then they just kick him out within a couple hours. It seems like. But by the way, that knife that he uses to like
the vibro blade.
The vibroblade, yeah.
So cool.
Yeah,
So cool.
It's,
I
it's,
love
it's in
how
the,
much
it's in the Old
cooler than the
Republic.
Dark
In the
Saber.
Old Republic games, I'm like, yo,
Yeah.
bring it! It's there. There's a weapon. It's canon. Bring it in.
So cool.
First episodes of Mando also had the Gamorrean guards were fighting each other using vibroblades as well. They were just bigger.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was pretty dope.
But
But yeah,
This is where I start to feel bad for Mando, right? I'm like, oh man, like this is like he got kicked out of here. Now what is he gonna do? And then the show redeems himself. Redeems him later. But
yeah, because you talking
I started to feel for him.
because of our creed, the only way that you redeem yourself by taking off your helmet is going to Mandalore, going underground, and then like basically rebaptizing yourself in these pools, which is how I understand it. And he's just like, Mandalore's glass. What are you talking about? And she's just like,
Yeah.
this is the way. He's like,
Figure it
damn
out, bro.
Dude,
Damn these Mandalore. And it's any wonder that like the Bo-Katan and the other Mandos are just like, yo, these people are crazy. I see it
yeah,
now.
you start to see that other side for sure. You're like, oh, they are kind of out there.
Yeah, because at first when
Hardos.
when Bo-Katan showed up and she's just like and took it off for something, he's like, "What? You guys aren't Mandos. You took off your helmets." And she's like, "You're one of those. You're
one of those
like,
weirdos.
yeah, it's like Children of the Watch or something like that, or the Night, something that sounded very Game of Thronesy." And
Yeah.
and he's just like,
They're Hasidic Mandalorians.
yeah, pretty much, yeah, yeah. And she's just like, y'all are the crazy ones. Y'all are this cult. No one
Fundamentalist.
really likes you guys. And he's just like, no. There's only one way, the way of the Mandalore. And now he's like, damn these ways of the Mandalore. He's like, this planet's destroyed. So I want to see that. I mean, weren't you guys just like, yo, screw Boba Fett? I want to see that. Like, let's go.
Oh, yeah.
He's gonna go to Mandalore and go to this underground. And what does Mandalore look like nowadays? And what is this underground part? So let's talk about that for a quick second. Obviously, this is going to go into the next Mandalorian season, but what do you guys think is going to happen? Is there something tangible there for him to do on Mandalore? Is it destroyed? Is it far gone? What do you
I
think's
guess.
gonna happen?
Wait, first of all, is there going to be another Mandalorian season? Because my understanding was that when the Book of Boba Fett picked up, that this was done, but
Yep.
there's gonna be more. Cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
All right.
yeah. It's supposed to be.
They're filming it.
Yeah,
Beautiful. Didn't know that.
I think it's the end of this year.
it's
is
supposed to
when
be.
we
Yeah,
get
that's the original
Mando
plan.
season 3.
Okay.
Yep. So if they stay on track, we'll get that. But yeah, I mean, this is all the stuff that they're kind of like have been promising ever since they brought back Bo-Katan. Like this is where the whole thing's headed. Is all of this Mandalorian lore in the background, and this just builds on it. But again, how the hell why does this actually matter to the Book of Boba Fett? Like, don't get me wrong, it rules, but it's so far off the beaten track. We only have 2 episodes left for them to resolve, I don't know, anything.
A crime lord war? Yeah, I know, right? It seems like you're kind of squeezing it in there at the end, but
Yeah, like I understand he's like they're doing like a mini like Endgame Avengers mashup where they're getting all these different people,
I don't know.
and,
It's more of a Defenders. Let's be honest.
wow. Okay,
maybe
Doc
even
Chris.
the Revengers.
Damn, Doc Chris with the spice there. I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Not wrong.
If anyone's seen that on Netflix, you know what he's talking about. It's just like the B
Wasn't
grade.
good.
Yeah, it's the Wish version of Avengers.
That's right.
The Avengers we
Mando's
have at
Daredevil.
home.
Daredevil's the good season. That was
Yeah.
the good series. We're good.
But let's go to yes, the quest for the Mandalorian. So good, yeah, coming in. Yeah, everyone's just giving this show the sauce. Holy crap! But moving on, he's like, all right, I gotta go do that. Fine, but first, I need a ship. So I love how like are they working in their Disney Cruise Line Starline cruiser thing? Is that what that transport ship is going to? Because he goes to this transport ship. And to me, like, I think it doesn't have like the same name as a Disney cruise, like the Starliner or
I
something
think
like
it
that. I don't know.
does. And I have a
Yeah.
problem with that because if I'm not allowed to bring my fucking weapons on a Disney cruise line, like he's not allowed to bring his weapons on this cruise line, I'm not going, dude.
This gets clipped out and it gets into the right wing conservative part of the internet. They're like, this guy James Mack is right. This guy is great. It's great. It's good.
Let's idolize
Yeah,
him.
let's go to
I mean,
this
a
guy.
bunch of
Look at this guy.
heroes like
What?
freaking out happy right now.
What an American. What an American. He just goes into
Oh my
like
God.
all day. You
Fight
get
for rights of weapons on cruise liners.
James Mack. We see fast forward to James Mack and Joe Rogan. It's just like, yes, you had this idea and it's a great thing you said and I love it. It's great.
And I'm like, yeah, Joe, I don't know why I'm here, man. I'm very left leaning, and I think you should get the vaccine, dude.
Oh man. By the way, if you guys
You
haven't
get
Googled
so cold,
sidetrack, Joe Rogan has very weird nipples. Google it. So moving on,
right.
moving on. So yeah, so he's like, okay, I need a ship before I can do any of this stuff. I need to go see Grogu. Oh yeah, the let's rewind for a little bit. So another cool part I like about this whole little Mandalorian enclave is that when the armorer talks to Din Djarin about the spear that he acquired and saying how it's more of a detriment to Mandalorians because it can pierce Mandalorian armor than anything else, she's like, let's just smelt it down. Like, what should I make? Because these things should be armor. Beskar is supposed to be for armor, not for weapons. She said, but also made whistling birds made out of Beskar. Not for weapons, by the way, but also made whistling birds, which were made out of
Whistling
Beskar.
birds are tools first, Sergio, then weapons second. Okay.
Okay, is that how they look at him? They look at him as like a nice garden hose or a rake. They're not.
I use that as for my argument for why knives are okay to carry in your pocket.
True.
It's a tool first, not a weapon.
Actually, true. Survival. But and what do you think she made for Grogu? Because it looks like there's some medieval chain link looking.
I thought she wrapped up a ball. You know, the ball that he's trying to get on the Razor Crest all the time, and like his manual stick.
No way.
Something dumb like that. I really do think it's something stupid that he could just give to the child and then be like, okay, see, now I gave this to you.
It's an accessory. Chris, what do you think she made for him?
I think it's some kind of chainmail. I mean, it's something that kind of, wraps up in that nice little cloth thing that also has Grogu style ears on it. I was like, oh, that's weird.
That's so Disney. It's so
maybe
Disney.
it's like
It might as well been Mickey Mouse ears and
with no brim.
Big eyes,
yeah,
big eyes, big ears. So it's but yeah, I'm thinking some sort of chainmail, something a little different. Either that or the most adorable friggin' Mando helmet ever.
That would be insane. That would be insane.
Ugh,
so
everyone just would die.
So Chris is saying chainmail vest. Jay is saying like a ball of some sorts. And in chat we're saying it's an accessory. I was hoping for a Viking style helmet from Noble Armo. That'd be sick, right? Because to help him cover himself. That'd actually be pretty dope. I'm not sure because obviously at first I was just like, oh, is it gonna be like a Beskar lightsaber hilt? But then I don't think she wouldn't know how to make a lightsaber. So I was like, oh, that's completely out of there. Of course she wouldn't. But she also knows so much. But then when I saw like the chain links, like, oh, it's some kind of chain link vest thing, and maybe that'll come in later on because we saw Moff Gideon try to shoot him at one point, and Din Djarin had to like duck in the way. So maybe he was just like, hey, there was a moment where this maniac Moff tried to shoot him. So what if he had armor? So
a Beskar lined robe.
So
Jedi robe with Beskar in it,
kind of like a play on in like Lord of the Rings, when he had like the mithril like
hell
thing
yeah,
that kid sword couldn't pierce through, maybe something like that a blaster can't go through. That'd be sick.
And lightsabers, man.
So
remember. He can Beskar can block lightsabers. That's a thing.
Very true, very true. So get a guy saying a basic belt, calling it a codpiece. Okay, yeah, I'm sure Disney's like, we should make it a codpiece. I mean, crazy things that happens. We did have that stupid episode with the Power Rangers gang and the Vespa bikes. So who knows at this point? They can do whatever, and they'll just go along with it. Like, what was going on in that meeting? It'd be great, colorful like bikes, like on Tatooine. This colorful gang of teenagers with attitude. I'm like, what the hell's going on in that meeting? What the hell? Were they watching Rick and Morty, and they're just like, oh, what if we did like these Vespa scooters and these bikes and this game? Anyway, moving on to this. It's so weird. I don't know what's going on there. Anyway. So he gets on the cruiser and he gets onto the planet, right? And he's in Mos Espa, and we get a little cameo of the oh no, I had her name pulled up and everything.
Amy Sedaris.
Yeah, and we get Amy Sedaris, who
Kelly Motto.
Yeah, who's like he's making ships and stuff. We saw her in the first Mandalorian thing. Does her humor work for you guys? Real question.
It's fine. It's it's over the top. It's Amy Sedaris. Like, it's fine. She's quirky enough that she's got that silly street cred. So I'm gonna give it to her.
What do you think, Jay?
I didn't realize that was Amy Sedaris.
Strangers with Candy.
Yeah. I didn't realize that. That's kind of crazy. I never liked Strangers with Candy. It always made me uncomfortable. But
same.
Like, I don't know, but like she's really like, so it's weird that Strangers with Candy made me uncomfortable, but Kids in the Hall I loved. You know what I mean? And it's like it's right up the same street, right?
I can see that being your type of humor.
Well, of course, man. They're Canadians. Like, what do you expect? You know,
Yeah.
I gotta
Yeah.
to be happy with what they can deliver. No, but she's cool. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. For
Makes
the
me
most part,
uncomfortable,
I think she does a really good job when the humor's not too forced. I see it as like John Favreau's like, hey, you know, one of my good friends from back in the day. Let's get her some work and be really really wacky. There are some parts where it's actually really really funny when she talks about how she hooked up with the Jawa to explain why she can speak
Hilarious.
Jawaese, and she's like, fun fact, they're furry, and it's just like added lore.
In the most weird way ever.
It's good to see the CEO of Who Asked is still busy. It's, you know, he's in Star Wars meetings now. Who knew the CEO of Who Asked? He's like, yeah, but what are Jawas like underneath there? I don't know. Let's put in a line about how they're furry. Oh, yeah, that's great. Let's put it.
Why not? I don't know. Who cares?
I
Whatever.
was like, what added official canon lore now? That's okay. Let's go for it. So I found that pretty hilarious in her doing the whole thing. But to me, she's a bit too modern. Like when Mando first walks in, Din Djarin first walks in, and he's talking to her about, hey, I asked you to get me like a new Razor Crest. Like, what do you got? And then she goes, you got the cash? I'm like, cash? It's fucking credits. Calamari Flan? Cash? Did no one look at the script? Are we forgetting we're making Star Wars? It's a little nitpicky, but she kept like using language like that kind of brought me out of it. And the way she acts too, for me, is too modern, and it brings me out of Star Wars. But positive thing, I can then put my face down into my food and not pay attention. But I do want to pay attention. But it kind of takes me out of it. So she's like, hey, you got the cash? I'm like, she said cash? She said cash? The hell? What? Are we going to start? It's weird. Okay. But I do like this thing. And what do you guys think of, she reveals to him, I didn't get you a Razor Crest. You asked for something similar. Okay. Because he's like, what is this? We see a Naboo fighter, an N1 starfighter. My God. I was like, yo.
I got really excited at first because all you saw was like one side engine shape underneath the thing. And I was like,
That was a pod.
I was like, oh my God, are we about to get a pod race?
I thought so too.
I thought so too,
At
dude.
first, and then when I noticed the rest of it, I was like, oh no, that's a Naboo fighter. Oh, I was like, all right, cool. All right, I'm okay with it.
Yo, we get a reveal here, Chris. And it's insane. I didn't think this was gonna be in this show or mentioned at all. I mean, we would hope to. Fans were, buzzing in, like, hey, love this game. Can we see something live action? And we got BD1.
I'm pretty sure that this was not an accident by any stretch, for one thing. So BD, well, they call him BD. We've seen a droid like this, if not the same one, called BD1 from the EA Respawn smash hit Jedi Fallen Order, which rules. I'm still in the middle of playing it. I know it's a couple years old, but I got to it a little late. But I'm loving it. It's great.
It's so
fun.
good.
I haven't started yet.
Also announced this week is that the company that made that game, Respawn, has been announced that they're working on 3 new Star Wars titles.
Yes.
We don't know about it. All we know is Respawn is working on them, which may mean that one of those may be another Fallen Order game, in which case this might be a little synergy action going on where they're like, let's throw in this robot. That way we get people hyped about where'd this little robot come from? Who's BD? Let's look it up. Oh, Jedi Fallen Order? That's cool. I want to play this game. Man, that game was great. I wonder if they make any other Star Wars games. Oh, look, they're dropping a new one now. I'm wondering if that's the situation we're in right now. Anyways, not mad about it.
They did say in the press release they are making a Jedi game, but they didn't say Fallen Order, but they did say in the press release there was a Jedi game coming amongst the games that they're coming out with. And in Respawn we trust, man, because Fallen Order is good. I think it's still free on Twitch Gaming. So if you go, I think it's like twitch.gaming, something like that. Just like Google Twitch Gaming, and you hook up your Amazon Prime account to Twitch, and you can get it for free right now. So if you don't have Jedi Fallen Order, get it through that way for free. It's worth it. It's a great game. The controls are great. People who came from games like Star Wars The Force Unleashed, where you just hack and slash and do things over the top, it's kind of a refreshing thing where you have to like really, really hone in on the combat, kind of like your Souls-ish game, closest comparison. And the story's really good. The character's great. The environments are beautiful. It was just a really, really good game. So I can't wait to see what else they're coming out with.
Yeah.
But yeah,
By the way,
BDs.
that happened in this.
But yeah, see, I was like, it's BD. It's a BD unit. Like,
Awesome.
let's go. And it looks so good live
dude.
action. It looks great.
It does.
Yeah.
It has like great emotion too, right? Because it's all nervous and it's like kind of rolling out slowly, kind of greeting everybody.
Mhm.
Good job.
Perfection.
Dude.
So then they fix up this fighter. And then I know I talked about I wanted a pod racing sequence, but we basically got a pod racing sequence. It was just in a fighter. They go through Beggar's Canyon. They actually go through the same pod racing track that we saw in episode 1, which is arguably one of the only good things about episode 1. That rules.
Yes. That Darth Maul. But
that Darth Maul and the soundtrack. That's what we can agree. Those 3 things are the only good things about this
Dude,
movie.
while he was going through the can that we saw in episode 1 from the Boon to Eve event, I was like, Chris must be so happy right now. I was just like, yo, my man got what he wanted. Because at first when they pull the covers over, like, oh, it's an engine. Is it a pod race engine? And then I saw the Naboo fight. I'm like, oh, and then she's like, take it for a spin.
I'll take it, man.
And he went. I was like, that was amazing. Like, come on. And like, it had like the same ramps, the same route, everything. It's just like they're doing a lot of remember this, remember that, but this is done. I don't care. This is done really well. I loved it, dude. It was so great. I was like, yo, let's get the pod racer. And then he opens it up and goes into space. I was like, let's go. This thing moves. And we got a nice little sequence here where I'll call back to the other Mando episode where 2 Republic fighters in their X-Wings come over and they're like, oh, hey, you're flying out of here without some registration. Like, oh, yeah, we just built it. Didn't get on it yet. And one of the guys is the guy from the other episode of Mandalorian where we had the child in the ice cave with the spiders. I harken back to a Ralph McCoy painting, really deep dive there. But then the other X-Wing fighter was the double for Luke Skywalker in the finale of The Mandalorian. That's who that fighter is.
Yeah,
that's
who it was.
Makes perfect sense.
Yeah, that's the guy who played Luke Skywalker. Before they put the
face
CG
on his face.
On him. Yeah, but that's who that guy is. I was like, oh man, good for him and good for them for doing that. That was amazing. I love how he was like the rookie and he's like, are we gonna chase after him? It's just like, holy crap.
You want to fill out paperwork for the rest of the day?
That was good.
So, aren't those the Rangers of the Republic? Isn't that what they are? Isn't that what like in that episode when they were talking to oh my gosh, what's Gina Carano's character? Whatever. They talked to Gina Carano and talk about Rangers of the Republic, like that she should join the Rangers in Mando. So I'm wondering if again this is like, okay, we're gonna tie all these things and make, slide in little backdoor pilots for all of our other shows again. But whatever. It was a fun little sequence. I was not mad about it. Great.
It was great. Like, and I love how they put in two little mentions in here, 2 little bits of foreshadowing. I think. So, what do you guys think? One, Mando talks about, hey, what happened to the droid compartment thing? And she goes, oh, I hollowed it out. It's old tech, whatever. You guys think they're gonna put Grogu in that?
1000%. That's not even. It's not even.
There's no way that they can't, right? Like there'd be a good uprising.
Right, like if you got Mando sitting there because he's sitting nice and tight because it's a fighter jet, and then you see that Grogu right behind him, like it's like a little Goose and Maverick action. The other thing that they said was this Naboo fighter that they rebuilt and put together. It has a drive in which it's kind of like Nas in Fast and Furious, where it doesn't speed up to hyperdrive, but it has this old drive where like if you punch it, it goes faster than almost any ship because it's a jet fighter essentially, which makes sense. You put on the afterburners. So I wonder why they honed in on that. What do you think is going to happen with that? What's your guess? Some kind of space battle, some kind of thing where they're going to need to run, some kind of I wonder what's going. Because
there's going to be some dogfighting for sure. I think.
You think so?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're due for a good dogfight. Again, we only have 2 episodes left. I highly doubt we're going to get it in this show, but like, give me some good dogfighting. I want it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And one more thing, there was I love the sequence of when they're building the Naboo fighter, right? And the Jawas can get any part that Amy Sedaris wanted, and he was like, "Really? Anything? Okay, I'll start listing the parts." And one of the parts that came back was this long rod, this blah 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 Star Wars stuff. There was a lot of Star Wars mumbo jumbo. I'm a Star Wars fan, but there's a lot of Star Wars mumbo jumbo.
Didn't she say flux capacitor at some point though?
Yeah, I was just like, wait, what? Are we in a different?
They said a lot of stuff. I was cracking up at that point where they were just saying fucking whatever they came to mind.
Sedaris went off.
Yo, they were
Yeah,
popping
exactly.
up.
She's like, you got to go get the European Spizzler that shoots out bubbles out of the muffler of this thing. You know what I mean? And I'm like, whoa, what the fuck?
You got to get the part where you start with the Garfleck. It's like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
We're just combining every bit of like whatever mumbo jumbo. But the one part he was asking the Jawas for was this long rod looking thing. He was like, what? You got one of these? How did you get one of these? And I didn't figure this out myself. Like I found it on another channel where that long rod-looking thing was a throwback to when they were in the trash compactor. Luke, Han, and Leia were in the trash compactor.
Oh,
and they put up that pole to kind of hold the walls apart. They're like, we got it. Like,
yeah.
And that's what that was. I was like, oh my, deep dive,
damn, dude. This is exactly. This is a lot of that shit goes over my head for sure. You know, I'm just like, oh, that's fun, huh? Everybody else is like, take notes, motherfucker.
That's not having a photographic memory. My bad.
Bro, I love that because that's definitely Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni just nerding out. Like, yo, we got to go in with this. We got to, and because a lot of those are probably like canon names from some other ship and some other part, some other thing. But it's just like you got to deep dive. And there's probably people who, and I love the Star Wars fandom, right? Because there are probably people who are ship experts who just solely focus. People who focus on weapons. People focus just on Jedi lore. People who focus on Sith. That's why I love Star Wars. So people who know like all like the ship lore and the engines inside and out, all this sort of stuff. Because apparently, going to the sequels, when Poe Dameron's being taught how to fly an X-Wing, they were teaching him you have to like motion and act that you're turning it on and doing certain things in a certain order. And he's like, really? He's like, yes, the fans know. And he's like, what? And he said it in an interview. He was like, I loved that. He said, I actually, as an actor, I love that. Because like, okay, I have to do this sequence first like this, then this, and I have to do this whenever
accountability.
Exactly, yeah. And he said he loved that. He had to do things like that because the fans would know. And I was like,
I just watched the new Ghostbusters movie, and we watched some of like the behind the scenes
great.
stuff.
I loved it.
And first of all, awesome. But Jason Reitman, there's a scene in the behind the scenes things where he's like showing them how to exactly turn on the actual whatchamacallit shooter thing. I can't think of the name right now. And the proton packs, how to actually turn it on in the correct sequence because people are going to get pissed about it.
Yeah.
It was great.
Wow.
That's so
would recommend.
I love that. I love just getting into the weeds of this stuff. It's great. So yeah, he now has a Naboo fighter, which that also I'm like, are they padding this out? Are they killing time? Because that took a long time. I mean,
it was a long time.
That's why I was saying it was weird that they went into that so deeply just to re-enter a character that's not even about this show right now. You know what I mean? I'm like, I'm glad that they did it because I enjoyed it, but like thinking about this like pragmatically, like that didn't make sense to do any of that.
Yeah,
I'm happy they did.
I agree, man. It's so. I mean, I no smoke to Disney and the story group and Jon Favreau because it does take a lot to put this kind of thing together. As someone who works in production, it takes a lot to put this stuff together. There's a lot of teamwork. There's a lot of talking. There's a lot of like meetings, and then when you got to put the story together, there's a lot that goes into it. But they make some questionable choices, and I don't understand, especially to have a fire episode like this with the rest of Boba Fett, and then towards the end we get and by the way, go back to that sequence with the Naboo fighter and he's flying it. It looks so good. Holy crap. That sequence was amazing. I know you guys have some good sound systems, some good TVs out there. I mean, how did it look in your living rooms where you guys watched it?
Oh, it felt real good. It was some surround sound goodness. Let me tell you that.
Oh, I watched it right here with these headphones on, man. This is my shit now. I'm not allowed, now that I'm a married man, I'm not allowed to go out there and use that television.
It started the hard boundaries and the lines drawn in the sand. Oh, and I love it. That's great. But yeah, it was so beautiful. It reminded me of the moment in Harry Potter, right? Where in one of my favorite movies, Prison of Azkaban, where he's on Buckbeak. It's the best movie. It's the best Harry Potter movie. You know, because like he's feeling isolated, he's feeling alone. There's not really much joy in his life. And you know, Buckbeak is this creature that, you know, you have to bow to it. It's a creature of honor, stuff like that. It's very temperamental. And it immediately just like kind of like you know, acquiesces to Harry Potter. And then he goes on this beautiful sequence where not only does he let the Buckbeak let him touch it, but he gets on it, and there's a beautiful sequence of them just like flying through, and he's free and he feels great. And I was just like, this reminds me of that. Like the music was great. Mando's just in this Naboo fighter. He's cutting loose. He's letting him, because the Razor Crest was with him for God knows how long. That was his baby, you know, that but now he has this thing he built together because a part of, Mandos, they built craft things, and then he's just letting loose and flying. And even though his helmet is on, this is another thing where Bryce Dallas Howard, in direct, because this is directing, right? You get the conveyance of emotion, right? Like even though he has his helmet on, you can tell he's enjoying himself. It's great. Jay?
Sir, you're absolutely right. I didn't have the same thought with Buckbeak, but I had the same thought with How to Train Your Dragon when he jumps on Toothless and he goes for a ride for the first time, and he's just like,
also
whoa,
a great franchise, by the way.
Yeah, very good.
Absolutely, dude. And that movie made me fucking sob at the end. But anyway,
Same.
Yeah, man. When he took his helmet off and he had a beard just like me, that was so touching.
Viking Jay.
Now when the kids met each other's kids and the dragon kids and stuff. No, but yeah, that's the same thing. You also it was so smooth and so detailed, right? Where if it's driving slower, it's driving like Vin Diesel's car, right? Like I was expecting Vin Diesel to show up and be like, "Oh, family, we need to ride this thing." You didn't even have your car.
I mean, it does have. You never had me. You never had your car. It did have Nos though. This Naboo fighter does have Nos.
It does, right? But,
yeah.
But when she's explaining it to him and saying like, "Listen, you have to drive it as it's meant to be driven." And then that thing's just cutting through the sky like nobody's business.
1
right?
mile at a time.
Which is also the same thing they said about the Dark Saber. You gotta use the Dark Saber like it's meant, so it's all tying back together, guys.
Yeah.
This is how he learns.
Absolutely, it's incredible, and he blasts off away from the TIE fighters. He comes back, and then he's just like, "All right, I got some stuff to do." And then Mr. Darius is like, "Oh, there was an alarm that went off, but it's okay." And then here comes Fennec Shan. She's like, "Yo, what up? What up, Mando? We're gonna need some muscle." And he's like, "Boba Fett? Yeah, all right, let's get it." And then I believe he says he has to see a friend first.
Yeah.
Who in this Defenders Avengers style thing? Who do you think he's gonna get? Obviously, it's not Cara Dune.
Grogu.
No, I think he said he's got to go to see Grogu.
But I think that's going to be for the Mandalorian show.
I know. That's why I'm mad. I don't know what's supposed to happen because they just brought him in just to send him away, and there's only 2 freaking episodes left.
I'm telling you, he's going to go see Grogu. Grogu's going to sit inside his helmet on top of his head and pull his hair, and so he can swing his dark saber without any problem. Just he's gonna tootie him.
Oh. Either that or they're going to jump ahead in time for the next couple episodes and Mando's going to be back, and then season 3 of Mandalorian is showing what happened to him after he left Tatooine and came back, which is upsetting if that's how they actually do it. But at this rate, there's only 2 more episodes left.
Yeah, I don't understand. I don't understand. And Noble Arm in the chat also thinks he's going to go get Grogu as well. I think that's too. I think they're saving that because that's a big tease to incentivize people to watch the next, thing, because he has this quest where he has to redeem himself, right, into the new Mandalorian Enclave, because he took off his helmet. He's got to go to Mandalore, into the waters of Lake Minnetonka. Watch yourself, China Murphy. And he has to go get Grogu. He has this thing we haven't seen yet, this literal J.J. Abrams, like puzzle mystery box thing, this little MacGuffin. we need to see what that is. These are all amazing things to incentivize people. Keep subscribing to Disney Plus. We're gonna get into it. Let's get it popping. You're like, damn it, I gotta keep subscribing. Okay. But yeah, I wonder who he's gonna get, because I don't think it's Grogu. You guys think it's Grogu? It's obviously not Cara Dune. I don't know. Maybe Bill Burr. He gets Bill Burr. He's like, hey, dude. It would help to have an Imperial sniper.
Yeah.
It would work pretty
Or he's
well.
going to go get, is that bot still walking around? That's voiced by Taika Waititi.
No, it died, dude. It exploded.
It did?
IG-11?
Right? Yeah, exploded.
It sacrificed itself.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a robot,
but
there's
multiple IG units around, though. He's one of many.
Right.
That's true. Or imagine it's like, imagine it's Luke. He phones a friend. That
would be just so overkill.
It comes back again.
100%.
Yeah.
I would just be like, what the fuck's happening right now? I'm done. I'm out.
So next episode 6. It's funny because if you were to ask me where this episode was going to go, I was trying to predict what would happen. I thought it was going to focus on Boba Fett, but it didn't at all. I mean, we got this incredible story. We got a Mandalorian episode. I mean, this was a good Mandalorian episode. Nothing to do with the Book of Boba Fett. So because they did this, I have no idea what the next episode is going to be. What do you guys think?
I get nothing.
Next
wasted an
episode, those
episode on.
friends that he's gonna go get. Actually, he's gonna go get the Guardians of the Galaxy. It's gonna be more Disney and then more Disney plus plus. So I have no idea.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, but it's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen in the end here because Boba has to go face off against the Pikes. They've got a lot of firepower on their side. He's got to bring everybody in. He's got Black Chrysanthemum. He's got the Power Rangers, VR Troopers, Beetleborgs gang. They're colorful.
That was fast. That's good.
They're all going to bring their colorful candy-coated Vespas from Luca, another Disney property. So Groot is going to root them all.
Sick.
Oh, man. Yeah, big bad Beetleborgs. If you know, you know. God, I don't know what they're doing with that. But yeah, it's going to be crazy. So Boba Fett is mounting this army, this crime mob family. So who knows what's going to happen here? And they'll bring Zoids. Imagine they're bringing like their own version of
don't
like
tempt
Zoids.
me.
Yeah.
Oh, love me some Zoids.
It'll be sick. Now, one thing people are saying, and people are hoping, some Star Wars fans, is that in the last episode, maybe the next one, we're going to see some bounty hunters and some hired muscle on the Pike side because they have a lot of money. They're running spice. So people are thinking something along the lines of Cad Bane.
Oh, that would rule.
What do you think, Chris? Live action Cad Bane coming?
They could do it pretty easy. I mean, he's already he's already an animated character. So let's CG the hell out of him.
Is that the dual wielding like Voldemort looking dude?
Yeah, because there's no nose. The blue guy. Yeah,
kind of. He's like a kind of a goofy. Who's the alien co-pilot from Futurama?
Oh wow.
Wait, what?
Futurama, Zap Brannigan's co-pilot.
Kif.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's who he kind of reminds me of. Except the guy's way more. Except Cad Bane is way more badass.
Cad Bane is
Kroger's super badass. What are you talking about?
Cad Kroger.
Get my shorts.
But that's right.
Got himself pregnant.
Although we had Cad Bane showed up in Bad Batch as well, which is also coming back pretty soon, which is great. But yeah, so I mean he's around. Let's see what happens. I'd love to see. Again, we're pumped to see a lot of the animated stuff come to live action. I think they're teasing a bunch of it happening in probably more of Ahsoka. But like again, the season 2 of Mando, every episode is basically a trailer for another property. So like, keep them coming.
Seriously, I mean, they did a great job with Ahsoka Tano becoming live action. Rosario Dawson absolutely killed it. Asajj Ventress,
also badass, also someone that they brought back for 12 seconds and then who knows where she's hanging out, but that would be cool. She's available. She's not dead.
Yeah, I mean Danny Trejo's character in this, who's the Beastmaster now for the Rancor, mentioned Dathomir, so maybe they'll tap into some of the characters from there. I mean, it's incredible. I hope they do bring some stuff from the animated into here because I think it makes for great storytelling. I can't wait for the Ahsoka Tano show because like as much as I watch the animated stuff and try to enjoy it, well, it wasn't for me. I don't. If you like it, that's perfectly fine. I love that there's Star Wars things for everybody, but it coming to live action, I mean, you've got my attention. Let's go. I mean,
he's gonna go bring Han because Han's still alive in this currently, right?
Yeah,
it's true.
Yeah, it's true. That would be,
but also
too crazy.
It wouldn't make any sense. I understand. He's just gonna do it.
That would be too crazy. Also, other thing people are saying is, I completely forgot about her from the Han Solo movie. Kira, who's played by Emilia Clarke. Right. Yeah. So remember how she's a part of the gang that Darth Maul rules over the the Crimson Dawn. Yeah. So Darth Maul has this gang, the Crimson Dawn. And she was being trained by him. She was like the right hand. And at the end of the Solo movie, she was sent off to do stuff and things. So,
actually, the Pikes are actually a part of the Crimson Dawn network. So that's actually not a bad move at all. Because the whole, again, back to fun Clone Wars stuff. Part of what Darth Maul did was he took all of the different big families, big crime families, and kind of united them together under the banner of Crimson Dawn, including the Black Sun, so Shizor's planet, the Pikes, everyone. So that's not a bad move. that could happen.
That'd be sick.
Be cool.
I'd be sick because everyone's just kind of salivating that this thing is going to come down to like a gang war, like a big gang war. So they're bringing all guns on both sides. I mean, like Boba's getting his crew together. The Pikes, like got to be. So I hope that, if anything, the next episode is probably going to be a banger, and then the last episode, it's got to be huge. I mean, it's got to be the Guns of Navarro. It's got to be the bomb. It's got to be everything possible, because this episode proved that they can do it. This episode proved that they can give us something crazy and something substantial and something good. So I hopefully we get something amazing in the next episode. But yep, that's all the time we have for this episode. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you hit the like button and subscribe, and make sure you show us love in the comment section below, and tell us your thoughts on this episode of the Book of Boba Mandalorian Fett. And we'll see you guys later. We'll see you another time.